Yeah, so welcome to today's video. And as I said, this is one of the most exciting journey I have ever taken. And I'm so grateful to God because I knew at some point I'll build my own home. But the truth was I never knew when. So when this miracle happened, we were so happy and excited that God made it possible for us to start building our dream home at that point. And so here I'll be taking you along how we did the foundation, the walling, and a bit of the shutter work. So this video will be about that. I hope you stick to the end. And to you who is still trusting God for what you are trusting God for, just know He listens, He hears, and at His own time, He will make everything beautiful. Welcome so much to this part of the video. So depending on the area that you are in, sometimes you may be required to excavate the land, or sometimes you may just dig the trenches and put up the stones. But for us, we are in an area which has cotton soil. That means we have to get the cotton soil out so that we can start building. So the first step that we did was to excavate the land, and this is what you are seeing here. They come with the tractors, wanatoa hiyo mchanga yote, and then the land inaachwa kama iko kwa mawe, and that is when they start their foundation. I'm saying this because my area we had to excavate. I know in other areas where there is red soil, probably this excavation will not be required, but in case you are in a place where there is cotton soil, most likely you are going to excavate your land. Yeah, so and before we started the excavation, or before we went ahead to start building our dream home, one of the things that we had to do was to obviously know where we'll get the materials. So we went around searching and knowing where we'll be getting the materials. We did the comparison, knowing which is cheaper, which is more affordable, and we settled for what we settled for. But one thing I want to assure you, between my husband and I, is that we do not compromise on quality. So most of the things that we went for quality. So we had the materials kama hizi zikimwagwa. These are stones, darugo stones zilikuwa zinamwagwa, and this is what they were doing, or this is how they were offloading the vehicle. And as I said, we were going for quality. So hii mawe ni ile mawe ya 9 size 9, which is very strong and doesn't break easily. You see how they offload those vehicles. You can imagine if you have a bad quality of stones, they end up breaking so much, and they end up becoming like useless, which you may be even forced to use more sand when you are building. So one of the things I would advise anyone who is going for construction, especially if you are building your dream home, just go for the best quality, because the best quality will save you some other costs. Like if the stones break too much, you're going to use a lot of cement ndio zishikanishe. But if you have good quality of stones and good quality of sand, most likely some of these costs you won't incur them. So at this point, so we had the materials done. We also had the permit from City Council, remember that. We also had the plan of the house, remember that as well. And so at this point, we are now executing what we have already drawn, or what we wanted for a dream house. So the land is already excavated at this point, and what they are doing is mapping. I'll call it mapping. I'm not too sure if it is called mapping in construction. If you are a mason, you can tell me if this is correct. So this is what they were doing. So, and then because this house is a strong house, or it's a house that may go more floors higher, we had to do a very strong foundation. So we had to use the steel bars chuma, and the steel bars we were using, they were I think the 8, the 10, and the 12, this is what you are using, and they come with different prices. I want to mention there are some costs which will not be told by the by wale wanakujengea, that they will be increasing. For example, when you put up the steel bars, they will require someone to come and watch them throughout the night. And watching them throughout the night, these are different costs depending with how you are going to talk with whoever, or the watchman who is going to watch over them, depends with that. So one of the things that we noted, there are many costs that we didn't know about, like now hiyo kulalisha machuma so that they are not stolen. And you know, when these people steal them, they just steal, they go and sell them at a throwaway price, and you end up kuwa na a lot of losses. So what we did, we also had that cost. I'm just trying to say in short that there are some costs which you will incur and you never knew they existed. So that is one of it. We didn't know ukieka chuma,
Yeah, so
lazima
at
zirarishwe
different
so
levels
that
of
they are
building,
not
they call
stolen.
for different materials. For example, when you are doing the foundation of your house, there are the stones which are required for that. These are called the quarry stones. Hizi ni zile tough kabisa, the ones that are they are gotten just from the quarry. They are very tough, and most likely the water doesn't even penetrate. So we were using quarry stones for this foundation. Again, now that the house is already mapped, it's already being divided into different rooms, and so those rooms, they are like empty, and they need to be filled up to the stone level so that we can now put up the slab. So now we had to get this soil, which is called mchongo in quotes. Here they call it mchongo. So they come and backfill, and then once they backfill, they have to level it, and then there is a machine which is brought for ensuring it is compacted really well. So that machine was also brought, and it compacted everything well, and everything was on the same level. Now after that, we had a different day of now putting up the slab, and this putting up of the slab, everything must be there prior, because you don't want to run out of materials when you're putting up the slab. You know, the slab, the shutter, that is a one-day job. So they have to get everything ready, from the ballast to the sand to the cement. Everything lazima ikue on site. Actually, on this day, we were also running short of water. So we also had to get the water from these people who supply water with the punda. So they came, they filled the drums, and we had to use that water. It is a bit expensive, but this is what we had to use. So that is the foundation, looking very, very good. And now from here, we are going to do the walling. Alright, so probably some of you are asking themselves what could be the cost of this house, and about the costing and everything like that. I feel like that is a different kind of video. If you'd love me to talk about the cost of building this house so far, you can comment in the comment section, and definitely my husband and I will do that video for you. But I want to mention the cost of any building of a house is dependent on the size. It is also dependent on the design that you choose. Those are the two determining factors of any house in terms of the cost. So as I mentioned, the walling is so easy. This is just a walk in the park. So most likely this one even takes like 4 days or 5 days, and wameweza kuweka mawe mpaka kwa lintel. So actually this house was built in less than, I think, 16 days. The whole structure was up, from the foundation, the walling, and the shutter. Everything was up. And I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying this is a house which is a bit big. So for it to be done within those number of days, it was really a plus for us, because we had to save on the cost of labor. Yeah, you know that labor takes
a huge amount of money in the building. So that one was really a plus for us because we had a foreman who really moved things fast, and moving fast doesn't mean that things are happening with a lot of mistakes, but we were so glad that he was able to push his fundis, and they were able to do the work really fast. So if you want me to talk about the costing of the house, probably, as I mentioned, leave a comment up or comment section and we'll organize that video. It will be coming on this channel. I won't promise when, but also depends with how many of you want to know the cost of the house. Yeah, so here we were just doing the walling, and one of the tricks I noted is to get many fundis, or get like 4 or 3 fundis, and then watu wa mkono wakue wengi so that you are able to move fast. And as again as I mentioned earlier, you have to ensure that you have everything on site so that when they come, they're not rushing to the hardware to get maybe the hoop irons, they're not going to get the bars, they're not going to get the cement. And you know, sometimes buying locally becomes very expensive. So one of the tricks that we used was to buy in bulk, especially the sand, the stones. We were buying them in bulk. There's some things which you may not be able to buy in bulk, but whatever you are able to buy in bulk, go for it. For example, like now the sand, the best recommended sand for building is the red sand. Let me call it the red sand. The one is that comes from Ukambani, or the one that comes from Makueni County. Here they call it Makueni. So that sand, let's say one rodi, the small rodi, it's around 7 tons, and 7 tons is 16,000. And then we have the big rodi, miguu kumi, wanaitanga miguu kumi. Miguu kumi is around 18 tons, and 18 tons is 33,000. So I'm always advising anyone, just do bulk buying so that you may end up saving the cost. You see, 7 tons is 16,000 and 18 tons is 33,000. Which one makes more sense to buy? So we about the sand, about the ballast, we were buying it in bulk. Even the stones we were buying. You know, when you buy many and in bulk, kuna ka discount unapewa, and that really saved some coins. So the walling is going on here, and actually one of the things that my husband did was to ensure that the kids were even involved in their journey, in the journey of building. So most of the time he was there with the kids, and they witnessed the construction. So as I mentioned earlier, we also had to buy some water, because at some point the borehole that gives us water sometimes haiko inafanya, ama sometimes there is no light, and you know, borehole is dependent on electricity. If there is no electricity, most likely you will not get the water. So sometimes we had to buy water, which was really expensive, because for that one drum, the one you have seen there, is 200, and sometimes we needed like 6 or 7 within a day. So it was a bit pricey, but we still had to do what we had to do. And yeah, we were there to witness as well, and we took selfies, we enjoyed the journey, we did what we could do, and yeah, this was us enjoying, or this was us witnessing the construction of our dream house. So are you enjoying the video so far? If you are, please give the video a like, comment and share, and if you have any question, just leave it on the comment section, and I'll be sure to answer you.
Asante fundi eh? This is a beautiful home our good Lord has blessed us with. Nimetumia pesa mob, lakini nashukuru Mungu. So this is the shutter. Iko na chuma. We are finalizing. We are finishing and filling all the gaps. Haya ni mafundi wa stima, kuna mafundi wa masonry. Yeah, that is it now. Material ndio hii imemwagwa hapo. Sand na ballast. Okay.
Right, so at this point now we were doing the shutter and all the steel bars were already placed in their positions. This the shutter has a bit of work because you have to rent the poles, you have to rent some of the things that are called the trappers, you have to buy the bars. That's why I said most of the work in any building, it is in the foundation and in the shutter or in the roofing if you go for roofing. So at this point that is what we are doing. So hii ilikuwa siku ya kukoroga shutter, and as always ensure everything is on site so that you don't end up rushing getting some things, and that may cost you a bit more. So we were doing the shutter at this point. We were so grateful. So as I mentioned, we had a really good foreman or a good fundi. He did the work really perfectly, and I would recommend him to anyone who is building. Actually, he goes around the country. Anywhere you are building your home, he can come there. So if you want any recommendation of a foreman or a contractor, I'll be sure to give you Ukini inbox. So this was the shutter. We are now putting up the concoction of the mud, the sand, the ballast, and the cement. This concoction, I don't know what it is called, but it has a name. If you know the name, you can also leave it in the comment section. I know I've said so many things that you can leave in the comment section. If you know some of these terms that are used, you can also leave them. So also when you are doing the shutter, remember, or when you are doing the roofing, you have to do the plumbing work, and you also have to do the wiring, your steamer. So these ones, they go hand in hand. So they had to put up the pipes, they had to put up the pipes for plumbing and also for electricity. So that was done on this day before they even put that slab. So at the end of it all, this is how everything looked like. And at this point, there was just a small portion that they were finishing up, but you can tell that most of the structure or most of the slab is already done. So from here we did the curing for 21 days, and then after 21 days they came, they removed the timber, they removed the poles, and then the structure was left still standing. So yeah, those ones will be coming in the next video. Continue watching.
Tumekaraga vizuri leo kazi. Tumekaraga vizuri sana. Ni kubwa.
So at this point the shutter was already done, but we had to put up like 2 courses of darugo stone so that when we do the curing, the water will still be retained in the building or in the slab. So that was it about that point. So more videos will be coming in the next videos, as I mentioned, but I want to thank you very much for sticking here. I want to say thank you so much. Please like the video. You can like
and if you're in a position to share, you can go ahead and share. I hope this video has enlightened someone. I may not have used the right terms, maybe the pictures were not in the right way they are supposed to be, but I hope you still got something to get home. The main aim of putting up our journey to construction is to inspire people and to inspire someone and know that everything is possible. So please continue watching, stick around for more of us building our house, even probably moving. We'll be sharing those videos here, so continue watching. If you haven't subscribed at this point, I also want to request you to subscribe and stay around for more. So thank you so much. I'll see you on my next one. Bye.